Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Schaeber from MACS.
And Jerry Lemon from MACS.
And we're at the end of TMC 2024. Well, at least it's the end for me.
Well, yeah, you're heading home in the morning. I've still got another day on site.
Right. And I think TMC actually ends on Thursday.
It does end on Thursday. So,
right.
There's more opportunity for people.
But we had a great time so far.
Exactly.
Had a lot of good interaction with the study groups and the task forces.
Yeah, and lots of great information from the floor of the trade show that is going to be interesting to a lot of our members that we've documented for them.
Right, and we actually got a chance to really get inside some of the trucks. We saw Volvo, we saw Mack, we saw Tico,
and we saw Daimler. So some of the Daimler products. We saw some of the yard truck products.
We got up close with some of the recovery machines.
Yeah,
we saw three different Texa machines and two different Robinaires.
Two different Robinaire machines.
Right.
So we've managed to hit all the high points, and a lot of good information from the show this year.
Yep.
Really impressed by it. And it's really interesting to see what is coming and what we're going to see as service technicians working on the heavy duty trucks, whether it be yard trucks, class 5 through 8, or whatever. So there's changes coming to our industry, and the manufacturers are getting ahead of the game. There's some really interesting technology like what we saw with Volvo.
Yeah, so what was that? Because I've never seen anything that big on a discharge line before, but it was like this big aluminum block is what I saw.
Well, yeah, and what Volvo has done is they've created a no idle system that doesn't have any external components beyond an electric compressor and a pair of fans on the condenser. So they've integrated the no idle system with their factory AC package. And to do that, they've introduced check valves. This is something that was probably looked at 7 or 8 years ago.
And what was that used
technology on? Well, we actually put together a demonstrator package on a law enforcement Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
So, and we found the same thing that Volvo found is we needed a 24-volt electric compressor in order to move enough refrigerant to support 2 evaporators.
Because 12 volts just
12 volts, you
not
just
enough.
Couldn't move enough refrigerant.
Right.
And it's purely a flow issue. So Volvo found the same thing. Now, the interesting thing was this whole Volvo Class 8 truck, I think it was a VNL 840 or something.
840, yeah.
It is a 24-volt platform. So that's something new coming to North America, is a 24-volt Class 8 truck platform.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, the rest of the world's been using it.
And they've been talking about it for
ever.
Yeah. Right.
So,
exactly.
I mean, that's part of the new technologies and new things we're seeing coming. It's going to mean a slightly different approach to service, but it's not as big a change as you would think. So it's not going to be difficult. It's just going to take a little bit of thinking a little differently than maybe we have in the past.
All right. So one thing I want to ask you about is one of the recovery machines that we saw, because Robinaire had 2 machines in their booth. Of course, they're both for 134A, because this particular sector of the industry has not yet changed over. They're still using 134A in everything class 4 through 8. But the one Robinaire machine, the truck version that I call it, had these hoses that were, I don't know, how long were they?
Well, to me,
feet?
they were, I mean, well, it might have been 40 combined feet, but they were probably getting up to 18 to 20 feet of total length.
Yeah, because you stretched that
I
high
was
line
in the next booth across the way.
You went across the aisle into the next booth.
And the nice thing for that is if we're looking at using it in a heavy duty shop, whether it be a heavy duty truck shop or whether it be a heavy equipment service shop, that gives us the capability of getting up onto a combine, onto a piece of heavy equipment, and not having to worry about trying to drag this recovery machine up the stairs to that. So that
and
gives
also
us a
some
lot
of
better
those
access.
And also some of the machines with smaller hoses, you're maybe pushing the machine right up to the front wheel and then trying to climb up to connect it. So
it's a lot more flexibility. It gives the service technician a lot more ease of access to the machine. So that's going to be a plus.
Right. And the other thing is just the size of it's not even an internal cylinder. It's what we call an internal cylinder, but it's external. It's on the back.
A 50-pound recovery cylinder.
Right. It's just huge.
I mean, it's a full-blown 50-pound cylinder. So you'd be able to service buses like the Prevost bus we saw in Orlando.
Right. 27 pound
27
charge.
pounds of refrigerant, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
you need to put that somewhere.
exactly.
Right.
And, even if we're talking big charges in combines or heavy equipment, or even, I mean, a large truck will take anywhere 4 to 5 pounds on some of them.
Right.
Some of the older technology trucks, they're running 5-pound systems.
So what's the size of the tank in a standard machine?
Standard machine is usually either a 20 or 30-pound tank.
So just a little bit smaller. And it's not like they can't be used. I mean, a lot of the companies we go to for training, they've got a standard, whatever it might be, a Mala or a Master Cool machine. That's just what they have in their shop.
Exactly. But what they've done with both Robinair and Texa with their heavy-duty machine is they've gone to higher volume vacuum pumps.
Okay.
So they're going to 4 and 5 CFM vacuum pumps.
What's the standard?
The standard is usually between 1 and 2 CFM for the automotive type machines.
Okay.
Some of those are only single stage. So all of the heavy duty ones are all 2-stage pumps. So we're nowhere getting down into the better micron levels for having a true vacuum
By using the larger vacuum pump.
using the larger vacuum pump.
Right.
You still gotta service it the same way. Every 10 hours you want to change that oil out at a minimum, and you want to make sure your filters are changed on a regular basis. Most of these machines will tell you when to change the filters, but they won't necessarily tell you when to change your vacuum pump oil.
Right. Now, just adding on to this with the machine, so that truck machine, right, the heavy-duty truck recovery machine, has a nitrogen port on the back.
Right. So that gives you the capability of putting nitrogen in either to purge the system or to do leak checks. You can use a forming gas. It'll hook up to the same port, and you can go through and do your leak detection with your electronic leak detector for forming gas, the nitrogen helium blend, or hydrogen blend, I'm sorry. So all of this is built in. All these capabilities are built in. Some of them, and particularly both the Robinair and Texa machines, if you make a couple of adjustments to the way you set them up, have the capability of basically doing liquid flush in a closed loop circuit.
Right through their own hoses.
The adapters, just using the hoses.
Right. But that nitrogen port on the back, that basically allows the technician to connect the service machine to the system, to the vehicle, and then without having to take it apart, without having any, small release of refrigerant, or without having any contamination, you can put nitrogen right in through the hoses.
You can recover all the refrigerant out, and then you can put nitrogen into the system.
And then you can basically pump it up, either the low side or the high side, and look for leaks.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you're using, any of the tracer gas type mixes, you can do the same thing, or you can just do it with nitrogen, pump it up, and go through it with the bubble mix.
Right. And speaking of tracer gases, we saw tracer gas leak detector. Right, which actually came in a little kit.
Comes in a kit with the regulator for the tank.
Right, from Robinair. With the regulator. Right. Exactly.
So all kinds of new stuff to see and all kinds of new stuff to talk about going forward. So we'll try to keep you guys up to date and keep you informed.
Right. Well, once we get back home, then we have our write-ups to do for the magazine, stuff to do for the blog. So we've got a lot more reporting to give to our MACS members. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, Jerry, thanks for hanging out with me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me down, and it's been a great adventure.
Yep. And thanks for you guys for watching our podcast. If you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. And also, please subscribe to get notified of future episodes. I'm Steve Schaeber.
And Jerry Lemon.
And we'll see you next time.